Good evening, and thanks for tuning in. Before I kind of kick off and get into my discussion, what I wanted to talk to everybody, I wanted to kind of set the record straight. I'm new to the teaching world. Started substituting as a substitute teacher here about 6 months ago. So I always try to make sure that I do speak on things that I have a good understanding of whenever I give my opinion. Um, on this is kind of, I take it this way. One thing I did learn in the military is that every 2 to 3 years they try to move us from duty station to duty station. Twofold reasons. One was because, it kind of gets stagnant from being in one area, but the main reason was that when you first check into a new duty station, which is a location, could be in another state or right here on the same base in the same state, it gives you a fresh pair of eyes to be able to see things for what they are. For instance, let's say I walked in, and the first thing I did when I saw my new office or my building that I worked in, if I saw that it needed paint, I would say, man, wow, this place is dirty. It needs a coat of paint. Well, after 2 years of working at a place, what happens is you start to not see those things anymore. So one of the things that my commanders and supervisors would always tell me as a young man was, write those things down. The first 2 weeks, you're gonna see a bunch of crazy things that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. Write it down. Because when it does get to that year or 2 year mark, you want to refresh yourself. Go back and look at your notes, and you'll see, hey, I was supposed to paint this office. Don't you kind of get a little uh, complacent as time goes on. So being a fresh pair of eyes into the teaching world might be a good thing in that case. So what I'd like to discuss is the idea that we have to have specialized schools. Here's the thing. Juilliard, well known for music, Texas A&M, agriculture and mechanical, Harvard Law, Pepperdine, language. We know that these schools, UCLA medicine, they're specialized. They're renowned for providing that thing. Well, let's talk about in schools. I finished school, middle school, let's say 7th grade. In the summertime, I can go to a football camp, learn how to play football better. I can go to a engineering camp where we can build things and be free to play with things. And I saw a video where kids made a roller coaster, amazing, at an engineering camp, or a summer camp where kids learn how to be social, camping, survival, outdoor skills. Why do we have to pay extra and have these extra social things to provide the basics that we should be providing to our youth already? So I'll give you an idea of what I mean. And I don't mean we need to teach kids how to camp in school. For instance, I overheard a teacher a few days ago. We were having a conversation about me becoming a teacher, and we talked about dissecting frogs. And I told her this story where Mr. Russo, he was my biology teacher in high school, 9th grade. And I failed his class. 4 Fs. First 9 weeks through fourth 9 weeks, all 4 Fs. Instead of dissecting a frog like all my other fellow students in other teachers' classes, we actually saw a video of a frog dissection. Instead of actually looking at protozoans and bacteria in a microscope, we actually just drew the pictures from the text onto a piece of paper. So we just copied it, and some people would just trace it, make your annotations of what parts of the cell it was, turn it in, and you got 100. Now, a logical mind would say, man, that's just an easy A. Why was it so hard? Why did you fail? Because I wasn't there to just draw. I wanted to learn what these things were. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. So when I talked to this teacher about these dissections, she said, well, it's just so messy. I'm going to do it digitally. Digitally. Man, the smell of formaldehyde just does something for me, I guess. But I digress. Another example, protozoas. I substituted a class one time, a science class, and the students actually watched a video where kids went having fun. They went to a lake and got some samples from the lake and some pond scum, and then they went back to the classroom and they actually got the eyedroppers and they put it on the slide and put the slide cover on, slid it on the microscope and looked at it. Yeah, and then our students, after they saw the video, they actually went and to the digital ones that actually you put a photograph underneath it, magnifies the photograph, and they drew what they saw in the digital photography. Never once did they actually get a microscope and learn how to use it. Man, there might be a future scientist in that class. So what I mean by specialized training is just that. Don't cheat the kids. I understand that. I've heard it from friends. Oh, it's just too much work, or it's more work, or it's just something that it gets messy. I look at myself back with Mr. Russo and I say, okay, I apologize for inconveniencing you in doing your job. Don't cheat the kids. Perfect example. Imagine the military. We teach all of our Marines to fire an M16 service weapon with live ammunition and a real weapon. A lot of services, they use simulation stuff. They use maybe the indoor sharpshooter marksmanship trainer, which is a digital version of it, and it uses compressed gas to actually, it feels like a recoil of a weapon. But it isn't true. It isn't real. Until you actually do the things, it doesn't help. It doesn't. I'm a perfect example of it. So, give the kids the real thing. Don't cheat them out of their future. You don't have to go through leaps and bounds, but don't cheat them. Specialize it. Give them all of the tools that they need to succeed. Thank you. Have a good evening.